morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Baldwin County Commission on September the 9th, 2023. A little bit of housekeeping real quick. Individual that wants to speak, make sure that you fill out the form and get it up there. And also, you got 3 minutes to speak. And if a group of y'all are going to assign somebody, then you get 5 minutes. But we're trying to make the best of all of our time. So that's part of the thing. All right. So at this time, we'll have an invocation by Pastor Rick Marmagenial from the Fairhope Christian Church, followed by the pledge from Commissioner McKenzie.
Good morning, dear Lord. We invite you into our presence this morning as we convene this meeting of the Baldwin County Commission. We ask your blessings upon our leaders and all who are present here today. Please provide us the guidance and wisdom as we discuss the future of this great county. And may everything we say and do here today bring honor and glory to you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
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 Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I need to get somebody from CIS. My computer's sideways. Brian. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
It's weird.
First of all, we'll have the adoption of the minutes from the September the 5th, 2023 regular meeting. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie, to approve the regular meeting minutes from September the 5th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next is payment of the bills.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve payment of the bills and distribution of taxes which are listed in the Baldwin County Accounts Payable Payments.
I'll second that.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie, to pay the bills as described in the
Accounts Payable.
of the bills that were submitted. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay, next is, I guess, is our consent.
Yes, so next we have the consent agenda. However, we do have a citizen that is here to speak. They would like to have the opportunity to speak to one of the items, which is CO10 under engineering, which is having to do with the Restore grant projects. If it's the pleasure of the commission, we can move that to other staff, which is CO10, move that to all the other staff and give them the opportunity to address the commission at that time and act on it separately.
Okay. All right.
And if that's okay with that, we'll move that down to other staff.
Would you all to move that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Other than that, we're moving CO10 down to other staff. The rest of the consent agenda is still as presented yesterday, so we request your approval for the consent agenda.
Okay. Commissioners, I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second it.
Got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Commissioner Underwood. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Okay, next.
Yes, sir. Next is, we have no presentation, so next is public hearings. The first request is going to be environmental management. This is where the commission is being requested to actually recess this meeting and convene the waste siting board to conduct public hearings on items EL1 and EL2.
All right, Commissioners, I'll hear a motion that we recess this commission meeting and convene the Waste Siting Board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Got a
second.
motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie, to recess our meeting and convene into our Waste Siting Board meeting. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay. So what we're going to do, this is a public hearing for the stuff with the transfer station and the demolition disposal of the red hot. We're going to combine the two public hearings together because they're all the same anyway, basically. Roger?
And I believe Ms. Graham's going to do a presentation.
Okay. We got a short presentation we're going to do first, so that y'all can look at the screens.
I'm going to be brief, but last Friday at 10 a.m. in Bay Minette, we had a public awareness session. There were some questions that were asked. I wanted to just address a few of those questions. It's not encompassing everything that was asked, but I thought it might be helpful for me to explain a few things. One of the things that was asked is, what is a Superfund site? And basically, I'm not going to read the slide to you, but the old closed MSW landfill or municipal solid waste landfills, most of those were classified as Superfund sites. And so that is why that site was deemed a Superfund site. It is not on the list of national priorities, nor is it still a Superfund site. So in May, I wanted to kind of go over the timeline because that was one of the other questions that was asked is why did we close the landfill? So May 30th of 1975 is when the commission actually leased that property from International Paper. In 1985, after Subtitle D RCRA was passed, in 1984, they did start the surplus site assessments for Red Hill. And then in October of 1989, the county commission decided they were going to go ahead and construct a transfer station. They closed Red Hill in April of 1990. They opened the transfer station the next month in May of 1990. And then in 1991, the Subtitle D regulations were enacted by the EPA. And so moving along a few years later, we did decide to move that Subtitle D site to Magnolia Landfill in Summerdale, which is why we closed the Bay Minette location. The county commission purchased Red Hill Landfill from International Paper in 1998, and then since 2007, there have been no contaminants found on that site. So moving along, some of the questions were, why did we select the site we did? The property is currently county-owned and maintained by the county commission. The property has detection monitoring in place. We already have 600,000 cubic yards of waste under the cap, and there's a current dirt pit already in operation, so it would be easy for us to get the dirt for landfill cover. And then waste placed on top of the old landfill eliminates the need for cell construction and cell certification. And then another question was why would we want to move the transfer station? The current transfer station is over 30 years old. We need significant repairs are needed. Putting both operations together will reduce our hauling cost and it reduces trip time. We would reduce overhead having those operations combined under one site, and then the recycling needs are not currently being addressed at the transfer station. The other question that was asked is the current transfer station operations. What does that look like? We average about 50 customers a day. 30% of those are garbage haulers, 70% are C&D haulers, and 75 to 80% of those customers come between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. So just a few of the questions that were asked, a few of the things that I wanted to address, but that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Ms. Graham some questions because, when we heard about the how many people were interested in this particular situation. We three commissioners attended the public comment session on Friday because we care. We do. And so while I was sitting up there, in my iPhone, I didn't have anything else with me at the time, but I was listening to you, and I wrote down all these notes, and the number one thing that I heard, many different things, but was traffic, okay? And so looking at the terrain of aerial photo, we also had our engineers yesterday. We did a lot of work between Friday and today, and looking at some of these concerns. And as you guys know, we're not voting on this today. This is the public hearing, so we still have more time to think about what we're going to do. Okay, so that being said, the first thing I have a question about is, so 30 years ago, as you said in your slide, we built a transfer station in a more industrial area of Bay Minette. And from what I gather, it needs improvement or replacing or something. What would it be feasible to redo the transfer station where it is? And I know you may not be able to answer these questions right now, but these are the questions that I have, and I believe the rest of the commission more than likely has these same questions. Could the transfer station stay where it is and be improved? And we've talked about the type of improvements we could make at the transfer station if it were to be rebuilt at the Red Hill site, which would be a new facility, basically, enclosed on 3-4 sides, maybe, whatever what we need to do to make it the best that we can do. We want to do the best that we can for our people of Baldwin County. I understand the original thought process behind wanting to consolidate the two sites together. It is a logical thought, but then when you look at all the parameters that are in place and all that has happened in the last 32 years since that site was closed, it poses a lot of interesting concerns. So I would like to know if you guys would be interested in, or not interested, but would you look into the possibility of leaving the transfer station, which would be where the household garbage would come, the C&D would come, and then the dirt pit is there. The dirt pit is in use as we speak right now. It can definitely be used as a C&D landfill, which does not pose the potential transfer station smell. It doesn't pose the environmental concerns that maybe there may be some issues, even though I do believe that would have been addressed. But the getting there is very complicated. We went out there on site Friday. Had actually been out there once before, but went out on site Friday. And you know how there's just some places there's just no easy way to get to? And for any of y'all in the room that are Roll Tide fans, there's just no easy way to get to Tuscaloosa from Baldwin County. You can go all kind of routes. I know that might be a silly analogy, but some of you get it. Some of you get it, don't you? Okay. But we got to smile every now and then. So I guess where I'm at with that is, if we looked at those hours of operation and we didn't allow other haulers to take C&D from straight to the land, if we use it as a C&D landfill, so if a lot of the C&D trucks that are coming into the transfer station, we consolidate the C&D there and use our trucks and take it to the Red Hill site for C&D only, we could monitor those hours. We could make sure that they don't happen during school hours. We could make sure that our trucks are covered. And you know what? Our employees are good employees. Our employees are worthy of not being treated like they are criminals or anything like that. We have good employees that work for Baldwin County Commission. And if somebody sees, I've had people call me on the phone and say, that truck was just going too fast. And I'm like, well, what was the truck number? And they're like, well, it was a 18-wheeler or whatever. And I call you guys and I know you guys address it, And so sometimes, I think there's not a person in this room who has never went past the speed limit at least a mile or two or more. So if you haven't, then you probably will before you die. But anyhow, I just really feel like that these are some questions that we need to talk about. And regardless if we use it for E&D, or the consolidated effort. I feel like that some proposed entrance ways, maybe even from a different angle. We don't have any way of knowing that we could access it from the other sides, but there is potential if some of the landowners would work with us to build roadway in there, and even if we use it as a C&D landfill, to hopefully try to keep it out of the community. But I'd also looked at some of the sites where the city has the sportsplex and the middle school. This is not, it's not all, I don't want to sit up here and say somebody else needs to be doing something, but somebody else does need to be doing something. There is no markings on that road where kids cross, like school crossing or anything like that. So that's in the city, okay? And we need to partner and work together. And I feel like that the county can work together with Bay Minette with some suggestions, and we can, it's impossible to think that we're all going to be happy. But I appreciate my garbage men very, very much. Can you imagine if they didn't come pick it up every day? Week or whatever, it would be bad. And I think that where the transfer station is located, if we could work towards some of that, I think that we could come to a solution. I know that it's a logical thought to want to do it all up there, but when we pick it all apart, I think we could do better.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We'll look at those things, and we'll look at traffic. I'll work with the county engineer.
And I also found
I don't have that answer today, though.
Okay. And also, this might be a question that might come up during the public hearing, but I found out that the actual vote can be postponed to our second meeting in October. So we do have a month to dig into some more of this stuff, and we're looking into traffic studies, all kinds of stuff. But what we can do to help compensate for some of the concerns, I think we can come to a solution. Thank you, Ms. Graham.
Thanks.
Is this a comment time?
If you want to just say something.
This is before the public hearing starts.
No, I just want to appreciate y'all for coming out and voicing your opinions. If I lived there, I would feel the same way. The only thing that I would like to say, and we've all talked about it, we went there and looked at it, and there's some things that hopefully we can get done. What I'm really surprised is, and I want a partnership with the school board, and I want a partnership with Bay Minette, the city of Bay Minette. But when you have an entity that wants to talk bad about our employees, we don't talk about their employees. And that's not y'all. It's just something that it was given to us. Our employees are excellent. We do a background check on our employees when they're hired, and I'm going to take up for them. And it's nothing that y'all have done. It's an entity that did this, and it bothered me. And I don't know why they would put that in their paragraph to talk about our employees. Yes. And so I just want to let y'all know that we are listening to y'all as a commission, because if I lived there, I'd feel the same way. Being a retired state trooper, I understand all the traffic concerns that y'all have. So I really do. And I just want to thank y'all for being here and giving us support and looking into this. So thank you.
Okay. All right, I just want to make quick, we're going to try to do everything we can, if y'all got concerns, we're going to try to address those. We want to make sure that we're covering all our bases, before we proceed on with before the vote, which will be in their second meeting of October. So, we're not. It's not a done deal. We'll let you know that it's not a done deal. We're here to listen to what y'all have to say, because it's important, and this is your neighborhood. But sometimes we have to make decisions, for the good of, the whole county. Because that's what we're elected to do, to take care of the county's business. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and call the public hearing to order for two items. One is the application permit to locate a transfer station adjacent to the Red Hill landfill. And the other one is a permit application for construction and demolition disposal at the Red Hill landfill.
Yes, sir. First up we have signed up is Kimberly Holston.
All right, and remember, y'all got 3 minutes, and there will be, we'll try to.
Hi, how are you doing this morning? First, the main thing that I want to put into your minds is it don't only affect the children and the people there now, but it's going to affect their future, our future children, our future homes. We're building this in a nice area. So this is going to affect our future of our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Next, we have signed up Todd Holston.
You need to do it.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Underwood. I told others that felt like, you and Mr. Matt were listening. And this is our neighborhood.
He was too.
I'm listening.
I know.
We're a team.
I don't know how he feels yet. I feel like I've got a feeling on y'all. He plays his game close to his vest. But just, she downplayed with her deal the number of trucks. We heard the engineer, 90 trucks, 180 trucks, just that, not counting the outside counties. You went these roads, that curve behind Walmart, there's no way for a semi to make that curve without taking both lanes. That's a danger area. It's just the roads are not equipped for it. This is our neighborhood. We've been back there 15 years. This is home. Everybody knows everybody. And I just ask you to consider that. The property values, I believe y'all rode the area now. I asked that Friday. And because you don't traverse our area unless you're going to someone's house or to the landfill. It's not a pass-through area. And then every morning, you've got 3 to 5 students at the end of every road waiting on a bus. And they may be there 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Every afternoon, they're dropped off. But you can ride by every one of the streets have all these little kids out there, which are not used to the truck traffic, and creates a danger zone. And I don't understand. When Novellas come to Bay Minette, they had 5 other locations. Baldwin County won out, mainly by y'all's effort and work. Why would our county run in a fashion where this is the only option? There wasn't a second option given. How is that the way to run a business? Y'all are smarter and better than that. This is blown up, and I understand it's an uncomfortable situation. Y'all got a hard decision to make. But I like the rebuilding the other, but I hope that can be done. Also, the trucks going in, there's not supposed to be any hazardous waste. But, you can't regulate household garbage. People dump gas cans, paint cans, all kind of hazardous chemicals in there. They leak out of trucks. We've had it all behind one that's sprayed on our windshield. That's going to be dripped in and out. There's no way to regulate all that. The runoff containing it, that could create a danger. But that being leaked up and down our streets. I believe that's it. I hope
We appreciate it.
will
Time is up.
consider this is a family neighborhood. This is not a construction zone, industrial zone.
Thank you, sir.
And I thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next, we have Carly Rowley.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for your time again. We appreciate the chance to speak to you on Friday as well as today. Some things I do want to make sure that is put on the record. One is, I appreciate, Ms. Underwood, the thought of even continuing to use the current transfer station, as what would happen to it if it were moved from there? Would it lay dormant? What would happen to the facility there? We have plenty of empty places in Bay Minette, Standard Furniture being one of them. So what would that property be used for after that? Can we repurpose it and continue to use it for a transfer station? I would appreciate that. As far as the landfill, I understand that Novellus did not completely buy the entire mega site. Is there 1,000 or more acres still at that site that could be used for a possible landfill? And would that not be a more practical place to put it, in that it's right there by the interstate and not going through a residential community? I think that would be a better purpose for that property. I would encourage you to please remember, the purpose of a democracy is that we hire elected officials to look out for our best interests. We are entrusting you to do what's in our best interest. Please do so, and hear us saying that we do not want this landfill and transfer station at Red Hill Road. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next up, we have Calvin Phillips.
Last week, everybody spoke out against this site. I know we all have concerns about the children that go to school right there in those areas. We have concerns about the traffic and the trucks that are coming in and out. We have concerns about our neighborhood that's out there. When it was initially out there, it wasn't a neighborhood. There was very few houses out there. Now it's a residential area, and there are so many kids that ride bikes and stuff up and down those roads, which I know you guys probably rode bikes out on the road when you were kids, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Imagine your kids getting out on that road and ride bicycles out on that road. I've got a real passion for our children. I love my children. I have 4 kids of my own, and I will protect them by all means. So I ask you guys to please look into other places to put this site. Like they said, there's no reason for these trucks to have to even come through our cities and come onto our city roads. Let's put it outside the city limits where the big trucks from other counties are not having to come in through our city roads. We don't need that traffic. We don't need Bay Minette to be the armpit of Baldwin County, as somebody said.
I never said that. I'm from
I know you
Summerdale.
didn't say it, but it
We
was
get
said.
picked on too.
But, at the same time, we love our community. We love our kids. We just want you guys to look at other options and try to do the right thing.
We're listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, I have Brenda Branham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to thank each of you for listening to us for the last 3 meetings that we've had, and I appreciate the fact that I could tell that you were listening and taking this in. I'm here today not to talk about the safety, although that is a concern, but I'm here to exercise my right to speak, because if I don't exercise it, then I will lose it. I had a government teacher that always had the post, with every right there comes a responsibility. And if I want my voice heard, then I have to speak. And so I'm speaking today to oppose the landfill and the waste
Transfer station, yeah.
transfer station. Thank you. It's a residential area. It has changed since they had one out there before. I lived there when they had it before, and there are trucks that go by, but even more so now because there are more people, more trash. So I want you to think about that. Would you want that in your area? Would you want your children exposed to that? I bought my property thinking that my children will come back and have a place to live, and they are coming back, and they have children, and I want the best for those children and mine, and I do not want this in my neighborhood. I know it has to be someplace, but there are other places besides residential areas, and I would appreciate you considering those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have a Robert Branham.
Hello. I admire these women that can get up and talk without any notes. I have to have some notes to follow. So. But I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate the fact that you said you guys have visited the area, and I was going to beg you to do so. So I will not reiterate that, nor a lot of things that have already been said, but a lot of work has gone into this project, I know. A lot of research. They've talked about the airport, the wildlife, the soil sampling, all of this. There's one area I feel that's a bit insignificant attention has been given, and you hit the nail on the head, Commissioner Underwood, when you said it's a safety factor. It's the traffic. The traffic flow, I feel, has not been given enough, shall I say, research, nor the impact of these large trucks coming in. Now, there are trucks using the roads already. There are 10-wheel dump trucks, but this project is going to require 18-wheelers with 40 and 50-foot long trailers. I've watched now trucks going into Walmart off Dobson Avenue and to Quincy Compressor. They cannot navigate into and out of these businesses without utilizing the entire road, not just half of the width, and then the curves on both routes going to the landfill. It's a big concern. That's my main concern. Throughout my career, I've worked with companies involved in heavy industry, manufacturing. They all talked about their core values, and their core value, number one, was not production, was not profit, it was not quality, it was safety. Safety of employees, safety of visitors, safety of the neighbors. And I ask you, you guys are managing a very large business, 100 miles from Fort Morgan up to Little River. It's a monumental task, and I appreciate what you do. There are a lot of different aspects of this business, and I thank you for what you've done there. Please do not minimize the safety aspect, as has been mentioned. McMeans Avenue, Highway 59 is the most traveled thoroughfare in the city. There are more eating establishments right in that area than throughout the rest of the city combined. And with the waste that comes off these trucks, we don't want that near our eating establishments. But so, commissioners, I'll close with this. We look to you to protect us from the intrusion into our neighborhoods, our school zones, as has been mentioned. These roads were constructed for residences. They are not constructed for industrial use and industrial trucks. Please keep us safe. Again, thank you for visiting the area, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Jane Riggs.
I'm going to pass. I would want to say this, however. As a resident of Bayonet and of this community, I think the people who have spoken on our behalf have done an excellent job. I am totally opposed to this. I find it appalling. I think it's an injustice, and something that I have always abhorred is injustice. Those of you who live out here where we live, you know what I'm saying. Those of you who don't, you need to come out and stay and think about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have John Wilson.
Good morning.
Morning.
Again, my name is John Wilson. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Baldwin County Board of Education, and I'm here on behalf of the Superintendent and the Board of Education. I just wanted to say, Baldwin County, we continue to aggressively invest resources across the county to enhance our schools, and especially in Bay Minette. We have about $9 million of expansion and renovation plans currently in the design phase at the high school, which will encapsulate a new athletic and band facility. We've been in discussions with the City of Bay Minette on additional partnership to add more fields and parking in the park located behind the high school across the street from the middle school. This partnership will obviously encompass a use agreement. It's our goal that the high school and middle school will utilize these facilities. We'll work with the city to try to make that as safe as possible. But I fully intend that to result in more students, especially on the middle school side, crossing Red Hill Road for soccer practice, using the track, etc. I can't help but worry another 90 trucks passing the two schools, 180 trips per day, creates a much more dangerous situation than we currently see right now. I understand better than most the needs, the resources, and the challenges that are created from the growth we're seeing across the county. But I'm asking you to please reconsider the site of this transfer station. There's a lot of positive developments going on in North Baldwin, obviously Novellis being one of the largest ones. I think this is only going to increase our enrollment. It's going to increase the number of buses. It's going to increase the number of parents dropping off and picking up kids on a daily basis. So on behalf of the Baldwin County School System, we ask that you please don't rush into this decision and just allow the proper time and effort so we can make the best decision for the long term. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Sarah Young.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here today on behalf of the Baldwin County Board of Education as their board attorney and general counsel. The superintendent asked me to be here today. He can't be here. He's in Montgomery handling another matter that impacts students. I want to speak on the three important provisions in the law that you all are tasked with considering in approving the site. I think Mr. Wilson did a great job of speaking on number 3, which is the social and economical impacts to the community. But I want to talk about the relationship with the roads and safety, and particularly the effort to minimize the impact on public safety. My client's goal is a little bit different than other public entities, and it's more of an idealistic one. They wake up every morning with the goal in mind to educate children and send them home every day in the same way they came to us, hopefully a little smarter, but to keep them safe and to provide a positive and safe learning environment. And so with that mindset in the back of the framework, I want to provide some numbers. And I provided some of these in our letter that we submitted to y'all when we were asked to address concerns in writing. But 1,800 is the number of students, employees that are within those two campuses every day. So 1,800 individuals are those people that will be exiting those buildings in the event of an emergency at the airport, a fire at the landfill, you be it. They're leaving and accessing by foot and by traffic on those roads. 800 to 900 automobiles are coming in and out of those two buildings every morning and afternoon, between buses, between car riders, between student drivers, up to 350 student drivers. They're right there, entering and exiting every AM and PM. And so as we've heard, you're asking to put that site location there, to add another 90 vehicles, and we don't know what the number of vehicles are going to be for the recyclables yet, coming in and out from 5 counties. So traffic's a concern. Many of our students walk home every day. Many of our students cross the street for activities. One student is all it takes to have access to a predator. And I realize that that's an icky subject, and it didn't sound good in the letter. It is an icky subject. But our concern as the school system and our obligation as the school system is to protect children from having unsupervised access to predators. So the inquiry was just, as a concern, will we be guaranteed and can we have discussions in order to minimize access to possible predators? And I'm glad to hear that there are background checks conducted. It was a concern. But one student as well being hit by a vehicle as they're crossing the road or as they're leaving in a car each day. Please take that into consideration as far as safety goes and the impact that our administrators are trying to put forward into these schools in order for kids to feel safe and to be able to learn in that community. We're excited for that community, and we just ask that you take into consideration the safety concerns we put forward.
Thank you much.
And next I have Heather White.
Good morning. I just have a couple of questions. Has a real estate evaluation been done to ascertain the damage to existing property values? And if so, if the values fall, are there going to be recompense for the owners? Like, how is that going to,
What was your question again?
I'm sorry, I'm trying
Just
to
asking questions about real estate values, and is there any kind of a...
Yes, is there going to be,
those questions were asked on Friday, and that's something that we took down in our notes, and we're looking into these things.
Okay. And as well, traffic has been touched on many times.
Yeah, I got like 15, 20 marks beside traffic.
Yes.
I heard that.
As well, I know it's been traffic, with the extra trucks.
It's your time to speak.
There's going to be extra, the 90 trucks, the 180 passes or whatever. There's also going to be, this opened up to 6 other counties. That's going to add more trucks, large trucks. We are... the first stop when people come off of the interstate to go holiday, like during the summer, we're talking spring breakers. We've seen cars as far as Canada at Walmart. There's more traffic with holiday than there's, right there at Walmart. You've drove through. There's more traffic during the summer. There's campers. There's more vehicles. There's SUVs. There's cars. These people fly through town. There's been numerous tickets written, and they fly through school zones during school. It's crazy. And then you're going to add all of that on top of that as well, with the school traffic, the holiday, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's spring break is different. So it's just like a continuous every week of people coming in and out. And, how is this going to affect this extra traffic? How is this going to affect the already bustling there? And I know it's, another one talked about the trucks coming around the curves. It's awful. It is awful. These dump trucks that are already coming in and out of there, taking debris, bringing out dirt, they don't pay attention. I myself have been ran off the road and have looked, and they're not even looking where they're going. They're looking off in the passenger side over here, digging for something or looking at their phone while driving these trucks. This is crazy. It's dangerous. And they're also, like, they're putting 2 new soccer fields in. That's more coming. And I'm against this, and the city has unanimously voted against this proposal. This site is not going to look pretty at all. These pictures, that's just a wishful dream looking at that. It's not going to look like that. Where is this stuff going to just...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next I have Joe Charo.
Thank you all for your consideration. This facility back there, I think there's a little confusion, and you can maybe help me here. The transfer station is only necessary when there's not a landfill. Right now, a transfer station takes it to Magnolia, is that correct?
That's correct.
If we build a landfill right there at Red Hill, the transfer station is
No, the lands up there, you cannot put any household garbage or anything like that. That has to go to Magnolia.
But eventually, the idea is to have...
No, that's never the intention, just for C&D, construction and demolition, and vegetative
This
debris.
complex back there, it may start out small, but it's going to get big. And there's going to be a lot of trucks and a lot of traffic, and people working there, infrastructure, buildings being built. It's going to be big back there. Now, I live on Red Hill Road, and I share it with the Whites, the corner of Red Hill Road and Red Hill Extension at that corner. The trucks that are coming through now, it's big. I mean, they're big trucks, triaxle dumps. I measured across my street. It's only 21 foot. 21 foot from asphalt to asphalt the other side. Then you have mailboxes. I measured the average triaxle dump truck is 9 feet wide. Okay, and they have to pass each other. And that's just what's going on now, is these dump trucks. When you add another 180 at least passes to a big facility, and you might say, oh, it's not going to be that big or this or that. When it starts out small and you start moving stuff back there, it's going to be big. And the neighborhood is residential, people. It's not made for this kind of traffic. And it's already heavy coming in front of our house, and then they have to make the turn to go down to the extension, not counting the turn by Walmart. There's already been wrecks, and in my opinion, y'all are opening yourselves up for huge liability. One of these trucks runs up in somebody's yard or hits a car or something like that, it's going to be Alexander Shenanara, Morgan to Morgan, all that's going to be on you. There's just too much residential area there for all this traffic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Danny Collin.
I appreciate y'all letting me speak here. I'm living proof of what can happen on that road. My son is building a house nearest to the dump at the bottom of that big hill. If y'all went down that big hill yesterday?
Friday.
He's building a house down there. Well, by the time we get it built, the value of that house is dropped if this is approved immediately. I live in a subdivision before you get to that new subdivision on the right. As soon as this is opened up, my value's already dropped. My neighbor just got a letter in the mail last month that her house value's already dropped $25,000. That's across the street from me, brand new house. There's no way in the world that this should be done. Another thing, I know you beat traffic over the dead horse, but I'm going to tell you I'm a living fact of that too. That curve that comes in from both high schools, that sharp curve right there before you get on Red Hill, that the gentleman spoke of a minute ago, I've almost been hit by a dump truck right there. My daughter-in-law's almost been hit by a dump truck right there. My son has almost been hit by a dump truck right there. They don't stop at that stop sign. This is the county. They don't stop at that stop sign. I called the sheriff department on numerous occasions. I got into it with the sheriff, lieutenant over the sheriff department on the phone because they wasn't coming down there visiting enough. I've called Bay Minette's police department. It's not their jurisdiction, I've been told, so I had to call sheriff. We got in a heated discussion on that matter. I told them when they do something about that curve, when that happens, somebody's going to be killed at that curve. Anybody here that lives down there knows about that curve. and they're going to be killed, and that's when something's going to happen. Well, now you got all these other trucks coming in here. We are dealing with all the trucks going in there now. And it's, when they get to the bottom of the hill at my son's property, they're doing about 60 miles an hour because they don't want to give it gas and downshift going up the next hill. We're going to have all them cars and trucks going down there doing 60 miles an hour on an average basis. Now we're going to triple the amount of trucks coming in there. So I just want to let y'all know we're living it there right now. And I sure appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next, I have James Bunch.
Good morning.
Morning. Yes, sir.
I really feel y'all are listening to us, so I appreciate that. And I see you smiling and laughing, so I know you're in a good way. So
I always smile, and don't take that.
So we
That's a good
appreciate
Gordon
that.
gave me this smile, and I'm going to use it.
We appreciate it very
And if I quit smiling, then y'all better call the doctor.
Yeah.
Matt always tells me, why you always smile? I can't
Why
help
not?
it. I have joy in my heart,
There
but
you go.
not about this. It's about
life.
my personal beliefs.
About life. I'm going to second what Danny said, because I live I actually had the first house built in the new subdivision, so my house is probably from here to that wall to the road, and I hear every truck that comes by there. They're just, if I wouldn't have had good windows put in my house, I guarantee they'd be rattling those windows. And there is probably 40 to 50 trucks a day that are going through there. I have also called the sheriff. I've called the highway department, talked to their boss. He tells me he can't control them. Tells me to call the sheriff. I call the sheriff. The sheriff drives by and drives out. Nothing's done. They even tell me that they don't want to write tickets because they could lose their license. So I don't know what else to do about that other than whenever there is a wreck, I'll be the guy down there giving them my name and number. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to stop it, and I've tried and tried. My neighbors all around have called them. It doesn't do any good. When they do go out there, they'll, maybe for a few days, they'll stop at the stop sign, but then, they've got that big hill. Y'all saw the big hill, so they are getting it so that they can fly fast enough down it, to help them come up it. So, with that many trucks going already, if they do put it down there, it's just going to increase. It's going to be really, really crazy, and that's time for me to sell, which I know is going to be there's going to be issues with that. And I've lived in Texas. I utilized a landfill and a transfer station. They're terrible. I don't care how many sides you put on it. They keep saying 3 sides. That won't stop. And the landfills in there is full of birds, rodents, flies, just very, very unhealthy. The other thing is, apparently they haven't done a traffic study, because I know they've been asked several times, but we haven't heard an answer to that. I have a feeling one will probably be done now. The other thing, and I guess that's about it. I don't want to be redundant with what everybody else has been saying, because I know you've heard it, so I won't push that anymore. But I think I've covered everything else. So we appreciate any help y'all can give us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you mind if I answer something or respond to what he was saying?
No.
It was brought before about the sheriff's department, and look, the sheriff's department, I don't know if you looked at the calls that they have. They've got a lot of calls, and I'm not making a defense for them, but I just want you to understand, as being a retired state trooper, I've worked with them for 25 years, and I know what they go through. If you have problems in that area, and if you can't get, because the sheriff's department's busy with domestic calls or any other calls, call the state troopers, please. That's what they're out there for, and so reach out to them too. I'm just telling you what the sheriff's department goes through. They do. We got a great sheriff's department here, and the sheriff's here, and he can say that. I'm just letting you know what y'all's options are besides just the sheriff's department and the police department. Please call the state troopers, because they will come out there and do it.
You're correct.
And when you say they're going to lose their license, they will get a ticket, and it will be points on their license also, just like any other citizen that gets for driving a personal vehicle. So don't let that think that they're going to lose their license the first time. That they're doing something erratic or reckless driving or DUI, sure they're going to lose their license. But other regular speeding, so don't let that call them. Please reach out to the.
Busy and they can't just come out there and do a deal.
Well, I just want y'all to be aware of that. I'm not saying.
I will tell you something funny. I called out there last week, and the lady asked me if I want to talk to her, and I said, "Well, I'm going into
No, you want to get
doctor's office."
These are all recorded that way.
I'm going into a doctor's office, so I really don't have the time to talk to him. And she says, "Oh, you need to talk to him now. He's not doing anything. He's got nothing to do for the rest of the afternoon." And I said, "Okay, I thought you."
But thank you,
Mr. Chairman. Before we go to the next person, while this gentleman was speaking and while the few other ones just before him were speaking, I noticed our county engineer was taking some notes, and I know that if it's some of our people, we'd like to know about it, and maybe it's not getting pushed all the way up the chain. So would you like to maybe say just a couple words?
Sure. A bit of this was somewhat surprising. I was not, my mic's working here, but not aware that there's been such a problem with the speeding with county employees. That is something that we'll look into. That was a little better, thank you. Appreciate the information about the dump truck speeding. It's not something that it was widespread. No, at least I did not know about it. I will look into the situation. I will say that whether it's a county employee or not, no one is above the law. If we're breaking the law, if we're not obeying traffic regulation, running stop signs, speeding, whatever, no one's above the law. Our drivers need to be held accountable if they are breaking the law, just like anybody else on the road. I will look into it. And just from what I'm hearing is this is what's happening now. Nothing to do with that. And so therefore that's a problem that needs to be looked into. Even if this transfer station landfill discussion wasn't even happening, because as you know, we are all from different parts of the county, but we serve countywide, and people, I had someone call me, I was on Highway 59, and no, back up. I was at a conference in New Orleans, and one of the constituents from Magnolia Springs called me and said that he was on 59, and he was beside a truck, and he had the number of the truck and everything, and I said, oh, why don't you call it in? No, I want you to call it in. So I called it in, and it was addressed. So what really helps is the time of day, the truck number, and where you were at. You can't just say, I was going down 59 and this truck passed me. You got to know when that truck passed you, that kind of stuff, because really and truly, this country, you don't want to be unfair. So let us know. Our highway department will look into our employees as well. Thank you so much. We don't know. Thank you. Mr. Underwood, I'm sorry, if I may add, all of our trucks do have numbers on them. There are trucks that are not county trucks that travel that road. All of our trucks are identified with a number. Please record that number, get a tag number, get some identification, report it up the chain. We will look into it. Yeah, if you can't get nothing more than it's a MAC or it's a Kenworth, that might help. Okay. Thank you.
All right, next. Okay, next up is Bryant Fields.
Good morning. Thank you. Morning. Many of these people here have lived in Baldwin County and Bay Minette all their life. I have not. I retired in 2020 and moved here from Tuscaloosa. And we've lived in Gulf Shores, we've lived in Fairhope, and we finally settled in Bay Minette, and we love it. We refer to it as Mayberry all the time because that's what we like about it. And everybody there is very friendly. Yes, there is already the big trucks coming through and lots of car traffic. And that's okay. But in my front yard, in the ditch, I find big two-wheel ruts all the time where trucks run off the road. And there's already garbage in the yard, just flying out of people's vehicles, or they're throwing it out. So I can't imagine what that's going to be when you get 180 trips down through there a day. One thing I haven't heard mentioned very much is that there is another way to do this. If you go on Google Earth, it shows another road to the west that goes to 225. It may be a pig trail or a logging road right now, but it can be improved, and that will be the number one concern, is the traffic on Red Hill Road. But it's not also just the traffic on Red Hill Road that should concern people of Bay Minette, because everyone in Bay Minette doesn't live on Red Hill Road, but their kids go to school there. And these trucks are going to be coming down the main 4-lane through town also. So, but I wish someone would look into the road to the west.
We did yesterday, got a map from our county engineer, and I know I said a lot at the beginning before you guys got up to speak, but that is, we have the map. We were on Google Earth. We were on all that looking, and there are some potential access points. They would require building roads, and that's okay, but the thing is, they're going across some private property owners, and there's a lot to look at, and we're looking at it, though. We are looking at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
And next, I have Kay Branham Riera.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for having this meeting today and listening to everybody. My name is Kay Branham Riera, and I live on the Red Hill Road extension. I live where the big white fence is. And, this is just devastating to me. And I know to all my neighbors that live on Red Hill Road extension, because the road is just not... It was not made to carry traffic and stuff like this. But I attended the first meeting on July 21st, and we only had 5 people show up because nobody knew about it. And so as we gathered signatures for the petition, the common thread was that a lot of people didn't know about it. And I had people that would sign because they didn't know. And I said, well, you could go and investigate it, and so the common thread was that nobody knew, and that this was going to destroy our property and our quality of life. So here today, and as a taxpayer and voter, I strongly oppose this plan. Here we have, we're going to submit, and we'd like for it to go on record, for the Baldwin County Commission, we have 1,221 names on petitions, and I'd like to submit that to the county. And back there we were talking, some of us were talking, we have heard rumor maybe that inmates would be cleaning up the roads and stuff like that.
We don't use them.
Okay, well, thank you for that, to let us know, because we were here. And
we haven't used them since before
thank
COVID.
you so much.
Yeah, since before COVID, or whatever that thing happened a few years ago. I don't intend on it myself.
Well, it's hard. You can't get the inmates anymore, basically.
You can't get them. We have a private company that contracts out.
Yeah, we got a contract where it's bidded out, and they do the litter patrol for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who they hire, it's not us, but it's a contract, but they have to follow all guidelines. So.
Okay, next. Vera McCants.
You're fine.
You're fine.
Take your time. I don't want you to fall.
No, don't fall.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. I'd just like to reiterate my feelings that I expressed to you last Friday. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I agree with my fellow citizens here in a lot of things that were said today. I would hope that you would reconsider putting it into or investigating another site in which you could place this transfer station, landfill. I know there are other ways to get around this issue, so I thank you for your time.
And I actually remember exactly, you were very concerned about the decrease in the value of your home, Miss Vera McCants.
It has
See,
been.
I did listen.
Yes.
I'm still capable of that, thank the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Claire Peppers.
Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Claire Peppers. A lot of this has been touched on already, so if I'm repeating something that's already been touched on, bear with me, because I just wrote and I'm going to read, if that's okay. Name's Claire Peppers. I live in Bay Minette. Have 2 children in the Baldwin County school system. They attend the middle school and the high school in Bay Minette. I attended the last meeting held in Bay Minette Friday, September 15th, and I wanted to come here today again to express my concern about the possibility of the landfill transfer station very near the schools and the sports complex and my friends, fellow residents of Bay Minette. I have multiple concerns, and I'll start with the amount of traffic from heavy machinery, vehicles passing my kids' schools, increasing the risk of devastating accidents due to congestion, student drivers coming to and from the schools. My next concern is for the families who have homes near the site. The site was deemed a Superfund in the 90s as a result of hazardous, toxic material dumped in the site. The EPA found it necessary to close the site, classified as a Superfund. After many years and lots of tests, decided to let it be used again. Superfunds are rated on a scale of 5 to 28.5. 5 gets it labeled as a Superfund. 28.5 gets them on a list called the NPL, which is the National Priority List. Site scoring 5 or above is eligible for the Superfund program, and 28.5 or above gets it on the NPL, meaning it can't be reopened due to the toxic levels. I would like to know what was found to prompt the closure and the rating it was given by the EPA to remove it from the EPL and recommission. I have other concerns about who will be appointed to run the site, which that was addressed. I was told that it was going to be inmates employed to work on the site, and there's no explanation of why that would be a concern in reference to the proximity of our kids and families who live near the site. I want to put it in perspective for you today and ask you, if it was your children, school, your family, your friends, would you be okay with the conditions for them to live in and go to school in the same immediate area? Would you find it acceptable to have them subjected to the dangerous chemicals that could be, what I want to say is stirred up when they penetrate that cap, is what they call it, because we don't know what was in there, and the extreme influx in the heavy machinery, but in the direct path of students who are student drivers and your loved ones. We're humans just like you, and we deserve the same safety and reassurance that you're going to protect our best interests, safety, and that you would want for your kids and your community. And I thank you all today for coming out and listening to our concerns, and we're pleading for you to take all this into consideration when you're making your decision. And please, please, please keep our friends and family and other citizens of Bay Minette safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Emily Ryan.
My name is Emily Ryan, and I'm from Bay Minette. And on July 21st, the first informational meeting was held on the proposed landfill and transfer station. There were only 5 residents at that meeting, and that should have been a red flag already. So the 5 of us did not believe that we were the only 5 that cared about our neighborhood and about our community, and as you can see, that's proven true today. Had Ms. Graham not failed to send out the notices to the adjacent landowners, we wouldn't be here today. So we thank you, Terry. The original application said that there would be, and in the first informational meeting, you said 45, no more than 45 trucks per day. By September 15th, that number changed to 90. That's 180 passes on our little one-way road, and that's a truck passing by our road every 2.6 minutes. That's a steady stream of traffic, and that's just the trucks. That doesn't count employees and individuals and all of that. So in another 2-3 years, as you open it up to the 6 other counties, what is that traffic count going to be? What's that going to do to our roads and our safety? So already, one of our issues is that nobody knew about this. And in the notes, in the notice that we were given, the budget's already been passed for this. And in the past several weeks, there have been heavy equipment in there, clearing the landfill already. You've cut the trees on the road in anticipation of the large trucks. So if this hasn't been voted on and cleared, why is all that going on? Why has all that happened? So the plans to make the Red Hill facility, we all know that it's about the profit center for the county. But to make Baldwin County the dumping grounds for 6 counties that have fought it in their own counties, they don't want it there. They're willing to pay the tipping fees and come here. And so, Ms. Graham, you've tried to console us all that there are no concerns with this facility, and you've said that several times. But traffic, safety, smell, dust, insects, all of that is regulated. So there's absolutely no reason for any concern because it's all regulated. But in the 1990s, when the landfill was there and it was contaminated, it was regulated by ADM then, and it still was contaminated and closed.
Thank you. I forgot to start the clock on you anyway, so you did good.
That's why.
Okay. Not very good multitasker today.
Next, I have Joe Ryan.
I'm listening, Matt.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. Feel like I need to introduce myself. My name is Joe Ryan, and I'm a lifetime resident of North Baldwin County. Commissioner Underwood and Gruber probably remember me. I served 20 years with the county as a code enforcement officer for the Planning and Zoning Department. I want to give you a little history on the landfill. I lived in the Red Hill community during the timeline of the closure of the sanitary landfill. I'm going to disagree with Ms. Graham a bit. Anybody gets on the internet and looks these 2 sites up, she says it's no longer excuse me, a Superfund site. It's still listed as a Superfund site. It's archived, but it'll carry that for the rest of our days, if you will. But there are 2 of them there, not just the Red Hill landfill. About 3 miles away, there was one that's the Uniroyal Chemical Company. The EPA identifies these sites because they pose or had once posed a potential risk to human health or the environment due to contamination by one or more hazardous wastes. The contamination of these 2 sites were initially discovered and reported in the late 1980s, and that's the best of my recollection. The adjoining communities and residents became aware of the environment similar to what these people have come out for today, and this became the catalyst for the establishment of zoning in Planning District 4, where both of these sites are. This is your own zoning ordinance, and according to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance, in '93, the majority of qualified electors voted to institute county zoning. On February 21st, '95, the County Commission adopted it. Section 2.3, establishment of zoning and planning districts. The proposed location for the new solid waste transfer station is currently located in Planning District 4 and is zoned RA, Rural Agriculture. This zoning designation does not allow for the proposed industrial use, which it will be an industrial use. The proposed location for the new C&D landfill is currently located in Planning District 4 and is zoned RR Rural District. According to Section 2.3.4.3 local provisions for Planning District 4C, no landfills are allowed. And I'll tell you why they did that, is so that this would not happen again. I'm going to beg your pardon for a little more time, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
In the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive solid waste management plan, zoning restrictions. Now, I'll get to this quickly. ADM Administrative Codes, Division 13-4.01, landfill siting standards limits permitting of solid waste disposal facilities if the local planning jurisdiction does not approve and support permitting of the facility. They can't. It's not allowed. Your zoning administrator can't issue a land use there. It's just simply not allowed. I would appreciate these documents being a part of the public hearing. I see your planning director here. It would be a great time with all these folks here to ask that question if he's been involved. And does he plan to issue a permit here in Planning District 4 where landfills are not allowed?
Thank you.
Okay, next I have Jimmy McMillan. Okay. Then I now have no Jimmy, so we have Elizabeth Certain? Citron? Okay, excuse me. Couldn't quite read it.
My name's Elizabeth Citron. Thank you. I did submit a letter yesterday evening. It's 3.5 pages long. It has 16 points. Most of them have been raised today, so I won't reiterate them. I've also attached 18 exhibits, and so those were sent to Terry Graham and Finley Reeves. But I'm also here today. I was the one who purchased 102 acres on Red Hill Road Extension next to the end of that road. I want to also point out this is a no-through road. I'm kind of perplexed as to how it could have been picked, considering it is a kind of sleepy, very beautiful 2-lane road. Nearby are woods and wildlife and animals. Most importantly, and as all of these fine people have talked about today, we've reiterated the safety issues. I want to talk a little bit about the devaluation of the property. As I went to the council and the commission in December of 20, unanimously it was voted that my 102 acres could be rezoned from industrial to residential. And then we submitted an application which was approved for a subdivision of very large lots. That was approved by the commission in April of 2021. Never was there any notice given that this site would ever become next to a transfer station or a landfill. In fact, there couldn't have been notice because, as just pointed out by the last gentleman, back when this site was closed, it was emphatically determined that there would be no landfills allowed, and that's what the position was when I purchased the property. I, in good faith, sold large lots. It's very beautiful property. If you look nearby, and there's another landowner who owns thousands of acres. It's all wooded. I'm a big wildlife. I have a big passion for wildlife. The reason I wanted to do large acres, one 15-acre lot, 8, 10-acre lots, and then 2 2.5-acre lots was because of the beauty of this area, the closeness to amenities, to the schools, to lovely people, to an airport not too far away, which nobody's mentioned the fact that there are safety issues involving bird strikes with that airport, but I've listed that as one of my 16 reasons. And I'm also, one of the lots that I sold, in fact, the last lot I sold was to Tim Murray. He's in California on business. He cannot be here today. He did ask me to read a bit of what he has submitted. I've attached it as one of my exhibits to my letter, because he has spearheaded a lot of what has happened here today. I was not given notice as an adjacent landowner, and neither was Tim, and neither was a third landowner before that last meeting in July. So fortunately, so that more people could become alert, I notified the folks about it, and they canceled that meeting, and now we've all had an opportunity to really speak out. But what disturbs me is that given that my application to have this area rezoned from industrial to residential, then my application to have the subdivision created for people to own ranchettes or large pieces of property surrounded by woods and near amenities was approved when I believe that the council and the commission knew that these plans were in the works. It appears that over $130,600 has been sent for an engineering firm to put these plans together. There's already work that has been started. I was allowed to pay $84,000 to North Baldwin Utilities. I was required to pay it to bring fire protection to this land that had now been approved as residential. I also spent over $94,000 to create this subdivision.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Okay. I would just like 1 minute to read one paragraph.
Have you got all your stuff in writing there? If you've got it all in writing, it will be submitted if you'll submit that.
Okay.
And it will be on record.
We heard Mr. Murray Friday.
Okay. I'll ask another person to read Mr. Murray's paragraph, if that's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I have Karen Pugh.
I've lived on Red Hill Road all my life. I went through the trash whenever the landfill was there before. They haul things out of Mobile at night in big semi-trucks to dump in this landfill up there. We have no idea what was dumped. My daddy came down with cancer. I've had cancer. My sister had cancer. My neighbor died of cancer. She's my age. There is 5 other people that lived there at that time that have died of cancer. In 1996, there was a post about the water quality located across where this landfill was. We're allowed 8% or something lead in our water. You know what it tested? 440. That's whenever they come and check people's well water. What concerns me by Walmart up there is where our water comes from, for the whole city and the county. Most of the area is under city water now, North Baldwin Utilities. If we got contaminants in this landfill, because you don't know what they dump when they dump that wood and stuff, and there's arsenic in the wood that they put in there years ago, because that's how they preserved it to keep the bugs from eating it and it rotten so fast. Am I right? Okay. Where did all the lead go that's in that ground? Is it not still there? Lead don't deteriorate that fast. Yet they tell us it's not contaminated no more. And another question I have, I thought this was zoned rural residential. If you put a landfill out there and Miss Graham's going to run it, and she's going to be over it. Y'all will have one person with the county with it, but she's going to be in control of it. And she's collecting money. Is that not made it a commercial property? Even though it's supposed to be rural residential? I just don't want to see what we went through before. How do I know that they're not going to start trucking stuff in here at the middle of the night like they did before, that we don't even know what it was? We know it come out of Mobile County back then. So my concern is our welfare, our health. And just because a building's got 3 sides on it don't mean it's not going to stink, and that wildlife will come to it. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
That's all I have signed up, sir.
That's all that's signed up?
I have signed up.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak for or against this issue? Please come up to the thing and state your name.
I wanted to ask the county engineer. I've heard these trucks, the city, county, or whatever, are not regulated. That word I'd like some explanation on. Can they haul whatever weight?
Yep.
Are they weight regulated like a normal DOT certified vehicle?
Yeah.
Or can they haul overweight, which will tear up the roads even more?
Now, since this mic works, no, we're tied to the same standards to travel on the road as anyone else.
Okay. I've heard that the unregulated and being a county, and I didn't understand that.
I can't speak to that specifically. I've not heard that, but what I can tell you is we're tied to the same law that anyone else is.
Okay. All the garbage trucks and all as well?
From a weight standpoint, we're tied to the same roadway restrictions.
Thank you.
Okay.
The only difference with the commercial, with the employees, county employees, are they don't have to have a medical card. That's the only difference.
Okay.
They still have to abide by all the rules just like everybody else.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else? All right. Okay. Go ahead.
Calvin Phillips. I want to know if anyone's taken into consideration the sister schools that Baldwin County Middle School and Baldwin County High School has. This is not only going to affect the children that currently go there, but we have schools like Delta Elementary School. We have Pine Grove, Perdita. All those families are going to have children that transfer to Bay Minette Middle School and go to the high school. So it may not affect them right now, but when they get children there, this will become a concern to them. I just wanted to make that known.
Thank you.
All right. Last time. Anyone else? Okay. If not, public hearing is now closed. There is no action that we will be taking on this today. It will be on the last meeting in October that we have is when we have to vote yes or no on this issue. So, let's see.
17th?
When is the...
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday.
No. I'm sorry.
October 17th. It's the 17th.
17th of October.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think tell me if I'm correct, if it's going to be here at Fairhope? The first one's in Bay Minette?
The first meeting
Always in Bay
is in Bay
Minette.
Minette. The second meeting
So
is
it'll be
here
here.
on the regular meetings. The work sessions rotate around the 4 county offices.
It'll be back in here. It'll be back in this building on October the 17th.
That's the latest date that this decision.
Yeah.
It'll either be decided one way or another.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for all your comments. And
Commissioner Gruber, before everyone leaves, and I asked previously, your planning director's here. Could he address these issues regarding the zoning?
Yeah. Come on.
That's a great question. I appreciate Mr. Ryan bringing that up. So we had this question come to us a couple months ago when when the Solid Waste Department looked at making some improvements to that site, and we initially started them down a permitting process, or we made them go through a pre-application meeting so we could understand what was being proposed and everything. And then through that process, we received some advisement, and we're happy to go follow up and just double check all of this, but that because this was a public use, very similar to, say, when the highway department wants to put up a highway barn, even in a municipality, the highway is exempt from that municipality's regulations, and in the same way, the solid waste department as a public entity is also exempt from our regulations. So that's our current understanding, that even though that says that in the rules, that I don't have authority to require them to comply. And again, that's certainly something we can circle back on as well. So.
Okay.
So the way it's addressed, I understand it's called immunity. And a governmental body does have immunity to certain things, and I just want to know if that's what y'all intend. And it sounds like I'm just asking, the conversation's already been had, and someone with all of the work that's already been done out there and spending the money with your engineering and doing everything you've done, I think someone has already made the assumption of that immunity, and that's why I would like to know if that's where you're going with it, let's hear it.
I would like to make a comment on your question. When we received information, I didn't find the answer out until Friday, that was the case of what Matthew just said. So all this stuff has come to us. Nobody had any intentions to deceive anybody, and that's what we're here for, is to hear the public information. And so we are steadfastly looking into this, okay?
Okay. Like I say, we are looking at all these issues. That's why we're having this public hearing, to get all this information so we can absorb it and
we
look
have
at
not
it.
made up our mind.
And I'm not saying that you have, but I think someone has already decided or assumed that it would just move through under that immunity.
No.
And I think the county does have the immunity. And I think where it begs to be looked at is the county won't be involved in this. As soon as you get your permitting done, you're going to turn it over to the solid waste department. And that solid waste department is becoming not just for the community, if you will. What it's becoming is a profit center. When you open it up to 6 additional counties for recycling and bringing all of that C&D in there, it goes from a government to, Commissioner, you can shake your head all you want to.
No. What I was going to say, with these other 6 counties, they're not bringing anything but recycling.
No, sir. If you read the document, that document says C&D landfill. It does. Okay. It does.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. We have a couple other public hearings to do yet.
Mr. Chairman, I think you need to reconvene the regular county commission meeting.
Okay. All right.
And adjourn the siting board.
Mr. Chairman, after we can we take a quick
got a motion by Commissioner Underwood to reconvene our meeting with the Baldwin County Commission meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
We'll take a 10-minute recess.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess. We're back in session now. Our next item on the agenda is some more public hearings. And the first one will be the amendment to the Baldwin County subdivision regulations.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fortunately, these are fairly straightforward. I'm just going to do a brief overview of the three changes. The first, we added the term manufactured housing to the subdivision regulations so that they match the language in the zoning ordinance. Before, it just said mobile homes. So that's mobile homes and manufactured homes. The second, in zoned areas, manufactured housing and mobile home parks approved after 2018 cannot contain RVs, and RV parks approved after 2018 cannot contain manufactured housing and mobile homes, so we're just avoiding the mixing after 2018. And three, at the request of the county health department, the certificate they sign on the plats and site plans has been updated to reflect the new language, because before they're just putting a sticker on with the new language, so we just update it so that developers, the engineers will know what to put on there. So the next is just the pages that show where we changed it, and the recommendation is approval.
The only question I have is, Mr. Chairman, you mind if I ask that question? Where did 2018 come from?
That's when they made the biggest change in the subdivision regulations. Before that, mobile homes, manufactured homes have been very clearly regulated, and then RVs, 2018 was the most definite language, like this is definitely geared to RV parks. So they were kind of incorporated other things before that, but that's when we had a very clear definition of RV parks.
Well, thank you.
All right. Okay, you got any other questions of the staff? All right, if not, the public hearing is open now for the amendments to the Baldwin County subdivision regulation. Is there anyone signed up to speak on this issue? Yes. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this issue? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the amendments to the Baldwin County subdivision regulations as stated by staff.
All right, we got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to approve the amendment to the Baldwin County subdivision regulations. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. All right, next.
Okay, as mentioned yesterday, the ES2 case has been requested to be moved off the agenda, which we have. They've granted that request. The next step will be ES3, case number Z2323, Bailey property rezoning.
All right.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, this rezone request is to rezone 2.60 acres from B2 to B3. Here's the location of Bailey property in the county. It is in Spanish Fort, located in Planning District 10. It's located north of Spanish Fort Boulevard and west of Stagecoach Road in Spanish Fort. The current use of the property is commercial. The proposed zoning is for B3, General Business District, and they would like to rezone to B3 in order to expand the existing warehouse facility to include an office warehouse. Here are the factors. Here's our locator map and our aerial map. You can see the adjacent zoning is primarily commercial as well as residential. I've also included kind of a zoomed out version of the zoning map on the previous slide. It's not in your agenda packet, showing you the subject property, that it's very near B3 and other commercially zoned properties. Also bordering the city of Spanish Fort, and a lot of that area is commercial. Here are the property images. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. This is in your agenda package. These are the current zoning requirements for B2, and then the proposed zoning requirements for B3. In terms of these factors, staff believes that the change is compatible with the existing development pattern of the nearby adjacent properties. There have been no rezonings since zoning was adopted by Planning District 10. In regards to better conformity with the master plan, the master plan indicates a future land use of moderate development for this area. And usually we see office warehouses in a higher development. So there's an argument that can be made that immediately across the road is higher development. So this subject property is within that vicinity of higher development. And you can see that on our flume map here with the red, darker red coloring. Staff sees no other issues with these factors. There were no agency comments. We did reach out to the City of Spanish Fort for any comments, and we did not receive anything. Staff's recommendation was approval. However, the Planning Commission recommended denial due to the proximity of the residential mobile home adjacent to the subject property. So it's located at that brown color. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have or go back to any slides.
Commissioners, you don't have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The question that I have, the applicant is wanting to make their warehouse a little bit bigger right there?
They would like to add on. There's an existing warehouse there, and they would like to add additional office warehouses.
Do we know what they're doing, what kind of business they have now?
No, sir, but the applicant is here, and he'd be able to answer any of those questions.
So across the street is the B3?
Yes, ma'am. Right. There is B3, and it's also an office warehouse across the street.
Okay.
So the reason that the Planning Commission recommended denial was the proximity to the
house,
the mobile home.
Yes.
Is it a mobile home or is it manufactured housing?
Manufactured housing.
I used to be on the Planning Commission for a long time, and we used to call them trailers, and I told that was 1974 and before. So.
All right.
Okay. No, I get it. Thank you. I don't have any questions.
All right. No more questions. All right. I'm going to call the public hearing to order for case number Z23-23, Bailey property rezoning. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions?
We do have one. Mr. Pratt Thomas did sign up.
The applicant's here.
Okay. Has there somebody signed up? All right, please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate y'all's time. My name's Pratt Thomas with Merrill P. Thomas Company. Our company is purchasing the subject property. It consists of a manufactured home and a warehouse, 3,200 square foot warehouse on 2.6 acres. Currently the property is overgrown. The mobile home you can't even see from the street. Trees are growing up through it. I walked into this mobile home. There's probably 10 or 12 cats, wild cats, that are living in this home. Probably turn into hundreds of wild cats by the end of the year. When we initially came up with the idea to purchase this property, it's got a large yard. It's a warehouse with a large yard. And we approached planning staff to use it, to buy it and renovate it and turn it into a contractor's yard. Planning staff did not want to support using that property for that use, so we modified our plan to a use that would be something that the planning staff would support, a B3 use. So we have tried to work our plan to satisfy planning staff's needs, as well as to complement the other development in the neighborhood. One of the main factors, Ms. Rhodes sent me the video link of the Planning Commission hearing. I was not able to make it there, and there was a lot of confusion and misinformation surrounding what uses are allowed in a B2 zoning district, which is what it's zoned now. And we intend to subdivide this property into three total lots for office warehouse use, which is not allowed by right in a B2 zoning. And there was a lot of confusion and even some misinformation at the Planning Commission hearing regarding that, where I was not able to address those issues. We believe that this property should be rezoned for the following reasons. It's currently a blight. on the neighborhood. We have 6 neighbors who are in support of this. We, unlike the first hearing we heard this morning, the neighbors surrounding this hearing are actually in support of what we're trying to do. The Planning Commission voted to deny based on some misinformation and miscommunication. Staff recommends approval, and the requested zoning is appropriate, compatible with the adjacent properties, and is in the vicinity of high development potential defined by the master plan and future land use map.
Only concern I would have, since there was some concern about that, is there is opportunity for buffers to be placed in between, my understanding. Matthew, you want to enlighten on that a little bit? I need to make sure I'm clear on that, since it's very different uses. You got a residential type use versus a commercial type use. Matthew, you want to help us with that? Because I think that's very, very important, that there might be an opportunity to,
Yes, ma'am. So our early concern with the contractor's yard is oftentimes a contractor's yard, you'll have folks showing up very early in the morning, sometimes moving out heavy equipment to a job site. And given the fact that there are residences nearby, that was a concern. The office warehouse can have some of those similar type concerns still as well. But one thing that we felt more comfortable with that is they will be required to go through the CSP process, which is a commission site plan approval process before the Planning Commission. And during that process, they will evaluate, or the Planning Commission will have the discretion to make sure there are appropriate buffers in place with landscaping and potentially maybe a fence or something like that, to just make sure that the impact on those that residential area is minimal to nothing. And they can even require things like the earliest hours of operation, things of that nature for the site.
Okay, that's when I want to make sure that I had that correct in my thinking. So,
all right. You got any other questions? Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for or against this issue? Hearing none, this public hearing is closed. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve case number Z23-23, Bailey property rezoning, to the staff recommendations for B3.
And I will second that.
All right.
And I'd like to discuss.
Okay, yeah. All right, discussion?
Yeah, just briefly, the fact that this does have to go through the site plan approval process, I think that our staff does a fantastic job in helping when there are what would be normally considered non-compatible zoning districts. I'm just thankful that we do have that in place to help those situations. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of difference between what can go in a B2 and a B3, and it makes it a little bit makes it hard and complicated, and it makes the process very difficult. But it's great to see a place get cleaned up, but we also want to make it get cleaned up properly. And that's my reasoning for saying that, you know what, since we do have the site plan review process in place and there is an opportunity for buffers to be required, that's all I want to say.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
And then that's the only thing I want to say to Mr. Chairman is what Commissioner Billy Joe said. Even though the planning and zoning voted it or denied it, I didn't go against it because of them. I just wanted to, I'm glad that we have the buffer system, and that's something that the Planning and Zoning Commission can do. So I just want to let them know, thank you for the Planning and Zoning Commission for doing their job, because it's very tough.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. There's no more questions, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Very much. Thank you. All right, next.
Okay, next up we have ES4, case number PID 23-1, E-Covery Property Planned Industrial Development Site Plan.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This staff report includes the rezoning and the PID, so it's the next two cases we have. All right, so this request is to rezone a little over 45 acres and also create a PID, which is a planned industrial development. The subject property is located in Planning District 12. It is currently zoned M1, and there is also some property zoned RA. The subject property is located in the Loxley area off of Railroad Avenue. The current use is industrial. The total acreage is 64 acres. The applicant is requesting M2 zoning, which would have limitations and restrictions governed by a PID. Here is showing you how a PID would work. They have the current M1 zoning. They're requesting to rezone to M2 and then have the planned industrial development overlay on top. Here on the locator map, you can see the subject property highlighted. Most of it zoned M1. And this M1 property, they are requesting to rezone to M2. The RA property, they want to leave RA, but have a PID, plain industrial development overlay over the whole thing. Here's some pictures of the subject property and the adjacent property. This is the current zoning requirements for M1. This is the zoning requirements for the proposed M2. And then also the requirements for a planned industrial development. This is their planned industrial development site plan. This is their overall site plan. You can see the current buildings on there. And then also the RA property to the east, which they are going to leave as is, as a natural buffer. There is a triangle piece in the middle of this property that is not part of the industrial development, but that is a cell tower. This is the open space they are proposing. They're required to have 6.4 acres, but they have provided 32.34 acres of open space. This is their landscape buffer. You see they have 25 feet along the roadside, and then the large RA parcel will also remain as a buffer between them and neighboring properties. This is a plan that was submitted by the applicant of what they propose to do to better their site, make it more friendly toward the neighbors. They had come up with adding thicker insulation to the buildings, doors, building a concrete wall to help keep the sound in. Here's their second plan. This is their landscape plan that was submitted. They already currently pretty much have all their landscape in place. Parking plan, they are asking for less parking than what is required. They are required to have 676 spaces and 7 loading and unloading, but they are showing 416 spaces with 8 loading and unloading. And they stated they only have 125 employees that operate over different shifts, so they have more than enough parking. They had a wetland delineation, drainage plan. Their proposed zoning does not conform with the current master plan, but the use is existing and existed before the master plan. So staff feels that this rezoning and PID request creates the best possible scenario for the community moving forward. No new driveways are proposed. We did not receive any comments except for Highway Department. They were good with the drainage. No comments were received from the city of Loxley. These are some photographs that were submitted to us by the applicant. The applicant sends me an email every week of updates of what they've done on the site to improve. This is their expansion of their retention pond. This is the concrete wall that they are building. And they also got rid of some of their gravel areas so it won't create as much dust. They concreted it. So staff recommended approval of their PID with the conditions of no industrial expansion to the adjacent lot, which is zoned RA. And also, any expansion of the facilities would have to come back in front of the Planning Commission for an updated site plan. And staff has also recommended approval of the M2 zoning. And then the Planning Commission recommended the same thing at their August meeting.
Okay.
Commissioners, you have any questions?
Oh, thank you, Selena.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I want to make sure on this, these are two items.
There are
the
two.
PID and then the,
The rezoning.
rezoning.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so we'll vote on them separately, I
Separately.
guess?
Yes.
Together, or can we combine them?
And we would ask that you combine the public hearings into one public hearing.
Okay.
And then what you'll do is you'll actually vote on the site plan first.
Okay.
And it'll make it contingent on the zoning, and then you'll vote on the rezoning.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, well then, I call this public hearing open for case number PID 23-1, recovery property planning industrial development site, and also case number Z2326, recovery property rezoning. Anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. I have Melissa Curry is signed up for this.
Okay. Come forward.
Thank you, Commission members and Chairman. I'm here on behalf of our client. I'm Melissa Curry with Goodwood Mills in Kaywood, and we prepared the engineering plans for this current addition that you see before you. Just as a recap, we've complied with everything that has been requested of the applicant, and all of the additional site improvements have been made. And as you saw in the pictures, most of them have already been constructed. So I'm just available if you had any questions or needed any further clarification.
Thank
Don't
you.
have any questions?
No.
I think staff did a fantastic job.
They did. It's been so great to work with our staff. They're terrific.
They
so
are.
we're really appreciative
We
of
appreciate
that.
you recognizing that.
Absolutely. They worked super hard, and we're very, very thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions.
All right, so anyone else signed up or would like to speak? Please state your name.
Harry Steele.
Morning.
Good morning. So, who is eCovery? Because they're not an Alabama LLC. Where are they out of?
They're Loxley.
They're in Loxley.
Yeah, but where's the company at? I mean, are they a Delaware corp? Loxley.
Loxley, yeah.
So are y'all?
It's an Alabama LLC.
Okay. I just did a quick search and couldn't find it. My fault. And so, what activities going on in the building that will require M2? So most industrial activities that you can imagine would fall under M1 zoning, and then there's some really like heavy industrial uses like a smelter or something like that. Are you guys like redoing batteries or something like that? Just curious about what the activity is under the roof that we're having to rezone to an appropriate zoning to allow whatever's going on. Those were my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah.
We suggested that they zone to M2 because they were on the line of, are they M1 or M2? We suggested M2 just to make it clear, but Melissa might be able to explain exactly what the process that they have on the site.
All right.
Thank you. So staff did request that we submit all of the buildings with each use that was within each building, because there are quite a few different buildings on the site. So we have a truck scale. We do have storage for aluminum. We have a processing area where they shred and granulate and separate materials. There is an area that is used just for employees for break. There's an office area. There is a pre-shredding area. Sorting of materials is used in a couple of the buildings, and then there are some melting and smelting operations that are going on. So the primary uses are separation of materials and the large smelter.
Yeah, and y'all basically, it's recycling. Y'all are recycling stuff there, correct? Is that what y'all are main
Yes,
thing?
and doing the separation.
Yes, yeah.
Metals.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
It's
And
very
so-
interesting.
Electronics and stuff like that.
I looked into it. It's quite an operation there. It's very interesting.
Right, and you may have also heard that during this time of the previous commission site plan approvals, the applicant held an open house, and residents were allowed to come and tour the facilities as well as county staff. And they've been very transparent in everything that they've done, and actually gone above and beyond the things that were requested of them, added all the additional dust mitigation and everything like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. All right, anyone else? If not, public hearing is now closed. All right, commissioners, do I hear a motion for...
I make a motion that we approve the PID site plan.
All right.
Contingent upon...
Contingency upon, what was the other, Matthew?
Rezoning.
Rezoning.
I'll second that.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie, second by Commissioner Underwood to approve case number PID 231, which is the Recovery Property Planned Industrial Development Site, and also case number Z2326, which Recovery Property Rezoning. All right, is there any more questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve the rezoning request for recovery.
All right, we got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood to approve case number Z2326, Recovery Property Rezoning.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next. Thank you.
All right, next we have ES6, case number Z23-24, Prince Property Rezoning.
This request is to rezone 2 acres from RA to RSF1. The subject property is located in Planning District 30 and zoned RA, Rural Agriculture. The current use of the property is vacant. They would like to rezone to RSF1, Residential Single Family, to divide the subject property into 2 one-acre lots for a family division. The current zoning would not allow this division because of the required lot width of 120 feet. So here's the locator map and the site map. It is surrounded by RA and RSF1 zoned property, and the land use surrounding the property is residential. Here is the plat of the family division. It shows the wetlands, the setbacks from the wetlands, and then the wetlands on each parcel. Planning Commission recommended approval of this request, and staff also recommended approval. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or go through any additional slides that are in your packet.
No, but would you put the slide back up there that shows the map? No, that one. That's it. Just leave that one there. Okay. I don't have any questions. I just want to look at that again.
Okay.
I have no questions.
All right. No questions? All right. All right. We call this public hearing in order for case number Z23-24, Prince Property Rezoning. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir, I do not have any.
Okay. Does anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this issue? All right, come forward, please.
Good morning. My name is Andy Grant. I'm Mr. Prince's agent, and I'm just here to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else? If not, public hearing is now closed. All right, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Z23-24, Prince Property Rezoning from RA to RSF1.
All right.
I'll second that.
I got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve case number Z23-24, Prince Property Rezoning. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. Next.
Okay, and going to other staff recommendations. First up, we have FN1 DYS grant agreement for fiscal year 2023-24.
Oh. Did you say all of that? I was waiting. Sorry. I'll make a motion. We approve the FN1 Alabama Department of Youth Services Agency grant agreement for fiscal year 2023 through 2024.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to approve item number FN1. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Okay, if you remember from a couple hours ago, we actually had a citizen show up for a consent agenda item, which was CO10, which we pulled off of the consent agenda to put under other staff recommendations. So we're going back to CO10, which is the Resource Ecosystems Tourist, the Restore Grant project. And we have Mrs. Lynn Bottoman here wants to address that as far as the grant project and the realignment of county roads 32 and 52 intersections.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for your time. So I'm speaking about file number 23-1665, the Restore Grant Projects. My husband and I are the property owners who would be directly impacted by the county roads 32 and 55 intersection realignment that is proposed in this file. We understand that this realignment has been under discussion for several years, but it is time for us to voice our concerns against this project. My family has held this land for generations, and we have resisted selling it for development because we believe that there should be green spaces left in Baldwin County for farming and natural conservation. Our home is on this property. Part of this property is farmed, but much of it is left undeveloped to be a haven for plants and animals, trees like the longleaf pine and animals like the gopher tortoise. There are numerous gopher tortoise burrows in the direct path of this proposed roadway. There is a creek, Baker Branch, and wetlands in the path of this proposed roadway. A major roadway through this property would be devastating for our way of life, for the farmers who make their living in the fields, and for the animals who would die under the speeding vehicles. We understand that as our county grows, we face many infrastructure challenges, and traffic is one of them. And we live with traffic on County Roads 32 and 55 every day. What we see is that most of the problems are caused by large amounts of industrial traffic, by aggressive drivers, and drivers who speed excessively. We need solutions that will encourage or force drivers to follow the rules of the road and to slow down. A new roadway will not do this. It will simply provide more miles for speeding and law breaking. We urge the Commission and the Highway Department to search for solutions that will slow the traffic flow and make our roads and communities safer. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gruber, this is...
Go ahead.
I've been talking with Frank and Mark, and maybe one of them can address why it's on there right now and what that there's no definite plans as far as like which side or area, or if it even can be done.
That's correct. If I can, I'll just kind of explain a little bit about this agenda item, then I'll get to the specifics of this particular piece. This agenda has 3 points. Item 1.
Is your mic on?
It shows to be on.
Okay.
Several years ago, there were a list of projects. This idea has been around for quite a while. Well, let me back up. As far as the Restore goes, a few years ago, the Commission approved many projects for as potential projects for the Restore program. This objective here, or this item here, is to narrow that list down to establish priorities for those projects that were approved a few years ago. This location...
Wait, clarify, the projects weren't approved by Restore, they were just approved by the Commission to apply.
That's correct.
Okay.
I misspoke. So the Commission approved a list of projects to submit for Restore. That was a very extensive list. This action is to prioritize that list, to bring it, to narrow it down into a more consolidated list to produce your priorities that there. So we're going to take the list that was approved a few years ago, establish priorities of that. This location is one of those sites. So, can I turn it over to Mark? I'm having a little bit of a hard time here. I'll be right back.
Okay. You just come up to the mic. Y'all ain't got to hide back behind that pole. I have to. Commissioner Gruber might not can even see you.
I will speak from the back. No. Okay. Yes. What Frank was trying to say was we're trying to consolidate this list down to what we feel like are really the priorities for transportation and highway needs, and this was one of them. This is a challenging intersection. We've done improvements to the past. We still have not seen the results we'd like to see at this intersection yet. So we don't have a defined solution for this location. The intent is to make it a priority so that we can work with the local residents in the area as well as transportation engineers to try to develop a solution that will address the safety concerns that are shared by us as well as Mr. Bodeman and Ms. Bodeman related to this intersection. So that's the goal of this, is to try to consolidate our list of about 15 or 16 projects into 4 really good projects. This is one of them. Replacement of the County Road 32 bridge is another one, which is just down the road from this one. We also have some environmental projects that we want to consider, which will improve watershed quality. So this is just part of that overall goal to focus on bigger projects that improve transportation safety and also economic viability for the county. The 32 is a major corridor. That's why this location paired with the 32 bridge makes a lot of sense for us. Now, we do not want to ever propose a project that's going to be detrimental to the quality of life for anybody in Baldwin County, and I've known Laura for many, many years, and so we look forward to working with her and her husband and their family to hopefully develop a solution in this area that maybe there's one out there we hadn't even looked at or we're not even aware of yet, but we may get that information by working together with them as well as the other adjacent property owners.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions from Mark?
I guess, is it necessary to leave this particular project on there at this time? I guess that's the biggest question, because we really don't have a definitive solution as to, no matter which way you slice it up, it's going to probably, whether it's her side or other side, or, you know what I mean? Or is it, help me out?
Well, I think the intent, again, is to focus on problem areas. We know that the 32 bridge is a need. We know
really
that this intersection is a need.
The grant money for the 32 bridge, because that is needed really bad. It's already a posted bridge. Yeah.
Well, I think given that the complexity of this intersection, we anticipate the solution probably to be a rather costly one. There's a lot of hills, there's a lot of terrain to address. If we shift this intersection in any direction, that's going to require property acquisition. So the reason we think this is a good candidate for Restore project list is because we do realize this is going to be a substantial cost to address this intersection. So therefore, we looked at projects that under normal annual funding budgets, we probably couldn't tackle in any one year without wiping out the rest of our funding. So therefore, we consolidated down to these 3, what I call bucket 1 projects that are of substantial cost to solve. We anticipate this one being a substantial cost to solve, over $10 million. So that's why it's in this Restore list.
Okay.
The only question that I'm pulling up the map now, man, where is your property located? What property are we talking? Is it the square?
It's on the north side of County Road 32.
North side of 32.
Are you looking at the picture of the red line?
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking at it.
So
this right here?
2 40-acre parcels that
Okay.
the red line is going through
Okay.
on the north
From County Road 55 South all the way to County Road 55 Forward.
Yes, I see it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just south of Newman.
There's an 80 in there.
That's right. And there's another 40 over here that they would have to get to 55.
You know, when we were looking at this, there was a myriad of alignments. You know, there's actually been no engineering done on this at all. It's just
it's nothing.
What would you call a vision?
This is simply what I call
concept.
It's a concept, more of just a visual representation. The final alignment there's been no determination made on this alignment. That alignment could shift east, it could shift west. It could be a completely different project. We don't know, but we just wanted to have some type of representation of what we think that would solve, because intersection improvements at the current location have been challenging because of the terrain. So
the hill is the biggest.
Our initial thoughts that if the intersection is shifted to an area where the terrain is a little flatter, it would be easier to implement any variety of solutions, whether it's roundabouts or realignments of the roadway. But again, this is really just a visual representation, a schematic at best. There's been no engineering put into that design at all. And I can understand how this could create a concern for them, because it does just bisect their property as it's just sketched.
It did, and it did for me the very first time I ever saw it.
Yeah.
And it hadn't come back up until we started looking at this list again, and that was the first thing that I mean, Frank stepped out, but you were in the room, right?
Yes.
I mean, you it was Frank, you, and I. That's correct, right? It did. So we're concerned. We don't want to disrupt that area if we can. So since this is just a concept, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about leaving it on there for now, particularly
You want to take this item out of it?
I guess that's what I'm kind of thinking. Is it? Do we need 3 items in there?
Well, we need to make the list that we need to submit to
Restore Council.
Them needs to be something that
shorter
they can look at.
Shorter
they got it. There's
shorter the better. So
yeah. Well, I'll say, might I make an alternate suggestion, and that would be, what if we took and updated the imagery that goes along with this, and really just do a circle in that general area like we did for the environmental project, and saying that we need a solution for this general location.
Instead of a potential
alignment. Instead of showing an alignment for a roadway, because I definitely can say that it looks like we've already predetermined what our solution is, and that is not the case, I can assure you.
Okay. I think if you would remove the potential concept of an alignment from that, because I saw other color lines through there the other day, kind of like the hurricane spaghetti,
It looked like a spaghetti model, and that's what I thought too. Now, and the intent is to address the safety of that intersection. So if we just look at just a circle over that general intersection, saying this is the area we want to find a solution for this problem.
It is,
because
it's not just this 55 north area, it's also the 55 south. I have gotten numerous. Now, when we do a lot of research on those accidents that happen, they're human error, and you're correct, speed, but that's everywhere, and it's so hard to...
It is, and if we could go back 50, 60, 70 years and establish some of these county road corridors, I don't think we'd have many offset intersections, but unfortunately we're dealing with this now, and I think there's going to be a solution to this. It may not be the perfect solution,
I think
but
if you
we
would
look forward to working
remove
with...
the red line off of there and just say that we looking for some improvements for this area, that would make me feel better, hopefully you guys.
Okay. Okay, all right. Then, so you just want to remove the word, the County Road 65 and 32, and just put, basically put something in there for the, but nothing definite, right? Okay. All right, Commissioners. All right, hear a motion that we approve item number CR10.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we update our list, and with the changes noted to the project at the 55 intersections.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie, that we approve item number CO10, resource and ecosystem stability and tourism opportunities and revive economics for the Gulf Coast States Act of Restore Grant projects. All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a comment. Whenever the county engineer and assistant engineer, I think they went and at least presented all this to the different, just presented information to different commissioners to update us with. The list was very long, and there was some projects on, the Restore Council's been going on for quite some time now, and Baldwin County Commission has not gotten their fair share out of the Restore monies, and we needed to really look at what we're asking them, and we really need to narrow it down, and I really hope that they will give us the money for the 32 bridge. So that is going to be what our primary quest is going to be for that, because that's a big amount of money, and it's also going to, it's not going to be fun whenever that bridge is being redone, because there is no way to build a bridge right beside it. There's going to be a 11-mile detour, but our trucks that are weighted over the 50-whatever-thousand-pound load weight that's on there now are having to make that detour as we speak. So we're in dire need of that, and I hope that by reducing this long list, it looked like our agenda, which is long. So it was definitely something, and we do have some engineers here at the county that really do care about the people, and hopefully you guys can stay in touch. Okay? Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, moving on to ARPA. We have GA1, which is a renewal of professional services agreement with LaBella Associates for ventilation system improvements at the Bay Minette Probate Office.
All right, Commissioners, on item GA1.
Yes, I make a motion. We approve that.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to approve item number GA1. Next.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, next.
Okay. Next, GA2, Resolution 2023-163, allocation of ARPA funds for the Perdido Bay Water and Sewer Fire Protection District Water Capacity Improvement Project.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve GA2, the Resolution 2023-163, the allocation American Rescue Plan Act funds for Perdido Bay Water, Sewer, and Fire Protection District Water Capacity Improvement Project.
Okay. Got a motion by Commissioner Underwood. Do I hear a second?
A second. Seconded
by Commissioner McKenzie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, next.
GA3, Resolution 2023-185, resolution approving Public Works project using ARPA funds for the Baldwin County Probate Office in Bay Minette.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2023-185.
And I will second that.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve item number GA3. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right, next.
Okay, GA4 was handled yesterday. We have one addenda item, which is the Sheriff's Office agreement for the disbursement of high-intensity drug trafficking area funds.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Sheriff's the HA1, the Memorandum of Agreement.
Okay. Got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie.
And I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve item number HA1. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right.
Okay. Commissioner requests.
Okay. Commissioner requests.
Yeah.
Commissioner, y'all have any requests?
I do.
Okay.
Hang on a minute. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't have any requests. I'm just waiting for comment.
well, I dropped it in that bag and it just went into, the abyss of my bag. But yesterday during the work session, I was asking about having some kind of like a little card or whatever that we could hand out to citizens that would have like our commissioner office contact information and also maybe a little QR code. And Shannon Spivey came in from the call center and she gave me, I think it's in that bag somewhere. Maybe I took it out at the house and showed it to Gary. I don't know. But I think that's where it's at. But anyhow, it was magnetized. It was a little bit bigger than I want it to be, but I want to be sure that you guys are okay if our staff members will help me work on getting something like that, because I thought what the call center had, it could just be mimicked and tweaked just a little bit so that it could have the commissioner's information, because most of the time they don't really want to talk to us. They just want that mattress moved off the side of the road that somebody threw on the side of the road or whatever. And it helps if we can, when we're in Walmart or when we're at church or when we're everywhere, that you can hand that. And a lot of, I think, this is my experience, which I'm getting there. I think I qualify for AARP now. But our seniors still like to have a magnet they can stick on their, I was saying got stainless steel, but have a magnet they can stick on their door or whatever that has like the information where they can call about highway issues, solid waste issues. And after hearing a lot of the comments at the public hearing this morning, I think it's very important that they know how to contact our highway department and the commission office and stuff like that for various things that they have. Even if they don't know something, if they just have a question, they can call us, and if it's not anything that the commission does, maybe we can direct them over to, a lot of times we get calls about things that go on over at DHR, which has nothing to do with us, thank the Lord. But we can direct them over there and stuff like that. And I know my assistant and you guys as assistants are standing on ready to help people. So that's all I'm saying, is that I didn't want it just to be like me ask about it yesterday and it just fall through the cracks. I want to know if it's okay for staff to proceed.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
After all that speech, thank y'all.
Look at it, yes.
I could have saved you all that and just said yes.
Yeah, we can look at something.
I guess I'm got a lot of caffeine in me right now.
Okay, no other requests? And we will look at that and see what it can do with it.
Thank you.
All right, senior staff report? Nothing.
We have no reports.
County attorney's report?
No, sir, and no executive session.
All right. Public comments?
Yes, sir. We have two people that have signed up, and I believe they're still here. First is Mr. Harry Steele regarding the library.
Hello, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
I was here because I became aware of a resolution that was passed by the Baldwin County Republican Executive Committee, and I wanted to speak against that resolution. I suppose that they didn't come themselves to pass it on, they just said they were going to. So I thought I would take the opportunity to say that as a citizen taxpayer and an employer in this county, I would hope that you would continue to fund the Baldwin County Library Cooperative. I don't know whose pet project it was, but they haven't been on the commission for several years, because I'm aware that they were moved out of the building where the planning department is now, put into, I don't know, what I would consider not adequate facilities. And it's my understanding now that the bookmobile guy drives the bookmobile home. They don't have an office anymore. So, am I mistaken?
They are located in the Foley Public Library.
They are located.
They are located in there
now. Okay, so I missed a beat on that. But,
Yeah, it took a while, but we have an MOU with the City of Foley.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, for some reason, I guess to bring female voters back into the fold, my compatriots in the Republican Party have decided to make this a grassroots issue, and since we can't burn books anymore, we can burn programs and librarians. And I'm here to say that there are some of us that appreciate you funding this. I, from time to time, need an obscure book that may be down at the genealogy department in Foley, and it saves me a trip. So I'm one of the people that benefit from it, and I know there are a lot of people who want to protect children, but since they invented this thing, unless you can uninvent the internet, griping about things in the library seems a little, looks like we're searching for an issue to engage people in, and I hope that you are above that.
I want to clarify that the location of the library and our support of the Baldwin County Library Cooperative is a completely separate issue from the books that are in question that have been brought up. That doesn't have anything to do with us supporting our library, okay?
I completely agree with you.
I want to just say that we have been doing a lot of research to determine what is this. I'm not talking about the books. I'm talking about support of the Baldwin County Library Cooperative. This commission is in firm support, to continue our support of the Library Cooperative, but we have been doing a lot of research to determine exactly what is their mission and what is their purpose. And so the City of Foley was very kind to tell us that there's really 3 main functions of the Baldwin County Library Cooperative. And by the way, there's only 2 library cooperatives out of the 67 counties in the state. Right. It's a very unique situation. And so we're trying to determine to make sure that the best service, the number one goal is to serve the people, okay? And so there is this card catalog in the cloud now. It used to be a literal server, but it's in the cloud now, and so they have that, plus they have the courier service, okay? So the municipal libraries are heavily dependent upon those 2 functions. It helps you to have more books in circulation. For example, I think the Foley Library, and I don't have the numbers right, but something to the effect of maybe they have 80,000 books, but whenever you have the co-op, you have close to 500,000 books available to the citizens of Baldwin County. So it has just become complicated with the fact that they're run by a board that's appointed by us, and we're just trying to do the best job that we can to continue our monetary support so that it can function the best way that it can function. The only other, I think I mentioned 2 things, is the bookmobile, and that's what we're trying to figure out, is to make sure that that continues. I know you came here talking about something that the Republican Party has passed, which I've not seen it at this point in time. I think someone called me last night and asked me if I saw an article. I had so much to do, I don't got time to just look for some new articles right now, okay? But because we had a huge undertaking this morning. I've been doing my homework on that. So, but the library situation is something that is, as far as the supporting the Baldwin County Library Cooperative at this time, we don't have any intentions of not supporting our libraries in some form or fashion, whether the Library Cooperative continues in the exact same role that they're doing, or whether we can work out something with the municipal libraries. But we are working hard, because just every time we turn around, there's just something. I think the library director from BCLC came in and said, we're not happy, y'all are not happy. But it has nothing to do with the book situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. We also have Mr. Robert Howard here to talk about a trailer park located on County Road 19 near County Road 494, 495.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Robert Howard, and Mr. Gruber, I live in your district, District 4. I live in Bon Secure. And I think you know that I'm coming also.
Yeah, Robbie Carver told me.
My neighbors have called. So I'm speaking on behalf of our neighbors, and we have a few concerns. I'll touch briefly on infrastructure in the area, specifically the surface roads and how dangerous they are. I posted something on a social media platform in my area and quickly got back at least 100 responses with people that were equally as concerned as I am about the speed of the transformation of the infrastructure relative to the increase in volume on the streets. They're not equal, and it's clear. We don't need the Planning Commission to do a giant survey to understand that. We can see it. We all can see it. So I'm here to ask to make sure that when we have these developers come in and we have these new houses coming in and industry, that we're making sure that our surface streets are keeping up at an adequate pace. And again, the concern is that it's not happening today. You guys know that. We heard lots of discussion about it. Yesterday, I was at the Foley City Council. They agree to it, and the mayor had told me about a lot of projects that are going on. Quite frankly, that's great to hear the projects, but again, the trajectory of the increase in volume versus the trajectory of the transformation of the streets is what I'm after. They need to be equal.
Yeah, sure.
Done. The second thing I want to talk about is there was a murder across the street from where I live on Friday night. We live one property away from this property, and that area is in a trailer park that is a nuisance. And the owner is textbook definition of a slumlord when you look at that place. I understand the area isn't zoned. I got it. I'm not for zoning. I want to be free, but this is a slumlord. Unfortunately, the sheriff has left, and I wanted to address this with him. His law enforcement have been out there several times, and by the way, all of my interaction has been good with them. I appreciate their business. They also took Kevin Quates off the street, which everybody's well aware of. We're very much appreciative of that. But this residential trailer park, not manufactured homes,
Manufactured housing.
Housing is a nuisance. I mean, the law enforcement is out there quite often. We see it. The city council in Foley said, hey, Rob, you need to set up a neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch isn't going to fix it. What am I going to do? Call the sheriff and say, hey, it looks like they're dealing dope again? Also, on the news, Debbie Williams, WKRT, last night reported on what had happened, and the sheriff's representative who spoke to the media said that the murder suspect had been arrested. She confessed to shooting this 30-year-old person, amongst other things. He said, amongst other things. What do you think us in the neighborhood are thinking? We see this stuff going on there. What does amongst other things mean? So what I'm looking for is, how do I go get involved? I'm a concerned citizen. We got to get this stuff out of our neighborhood. We got to clean it up. We can't allow it. And we all know that Bon's Cure has been going downhill lately. I mean, just drive down 49 and look at the stuff that's around there. So I'm here to ask, what do I need to do? I'm looking for your help. I want to get involved, and I want to start with that trailer park. I've submitted a FOIA request to understand the calls for service in that area, so I can provide it to my neighbors. So maybe we can professionally, respectfully put some pressure on our commissioners and our sheriff department to help us.
Okay. We are planning on doing some infrastructure work down in Bonchester, some of the places like 12 and 65, which is a very, very dangerous intersection. We just not long ago we went in and resurfaced the whole intersection because it was crumbling because of all the heavy trucks. You got the concrete plant, you got the gravel pit, and everything else, and everything combined right there. Plus, all the trucks that stay off of 59, they run down 65 and turn on 12 to get back, that way. But yeah, we've got some improvements there that we're doing, and we're going to look at trying to do some stuff with drainage down there too, because it's becoming an issue. The more development we're having down there, the more drainage we're having.
My property floods now.
Yeah, and we got to look at something with that. And I've talked to the engineer, and we're looking at trying to put something together to try to address some of those things. As far as the trailer park goes, or if you want to call it a trailer park.
No, it's not a trailer park. It's a manufactured home.
It's still a trailer park.
I think you can tow these.
Is it before 1974?
Yeah, it's manufactured home. But yeah, I don't know if we can. Yeah, I don't know. That's something we have to talk with the sheriff.
Very, very limited in that arena.
Yeah.
So we got to fix that.
How?
I don't know, but that's why I'm here. And that we have
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's something we got to look at with the sheriff and see if, maybe we can try to help clean it up somehow,
I think the best thing is for you and your citizens for that area is to get together and keep your eyes open and inform the sheriff's department. Let them know what's going on. Because I know that Robbie said, and my friend of mine said, looks like there's some stuff going on, but you can't, as a citizen, it's going to be hard to prove. You're going to have to get investigators involved and everything. But I think as a citizen, you want to take care of your community down there. I mean, I did that in Barnwell. I try to keep my eyes out open for anything that's going on and let people know what's going on down there.
So we've got it. Now, I am reporting back to my community.
Sure.
I told them last night that I'd be here, and so what I'm hearing is not much we can do.
It's hard for the commission. I think the sheriff's department is going to be the more... because it's unzoned too.
Because we don't have, first of all...
We have nuisance laws.
We don't have anything we can create laws with.
We're not a legislative body.
So we're limited what we can,
municipalities can have type of ordinances and stuff, but county commissions aren't granted that ability, and we were struck down big time when we tried to ask for it.
Even if it's a nuisance in the area and it's taking up taxpayer dollars for calls of service to this area repeatedly, that's what I'm saying. What do you mean we can't do anything?
I'd have to refer to Brad on that because
I don't know what you're proposing that they do.
It's a public nuisance. It's a again, without sugarcoating it, the owner's the slumlord.
I don't think a county government can stop somebody from being a landlord. If laws are being broken, then call the sheriff. There's no zoning, so that would be the only authorization we would have would be some sort of, if there was zoning instituted, of course it would be grandfathered in. The county commission doesn't have the power to tell someone to stop being a slumlord.
That was what I meant. It wasn't that we don't. It's not that we don't care about that, but that we weren't granted that authority from the state legislature.
I wasn't here, but didn't y'all? How long ago was it you actually put it on the ballot for the nuisance regulations?
In November, and it got shot down 72%.
That was part of the weed debate.
But even if that had passed,
it was buried.
I don't think the state of Alabama could come in and say stop being a slumlord. I mean, if they own the property, they're allowed to lease it to people.
That was for weed control, weed abatement.
And if there are no covenants on the land, if there are no zoning regulations in place, I don't know that any governmental entity can just come in and say we don't like your property. We could do a taking and build a stadium there. That's what they do in big cities where there's blight and slumlords. But that's not going to. That's not going to happen here. So I don't think what you're asking for is really possible.
I was leaning on the side that this place is costing us the taxpayers money. They came in and cited them for a big pile of garbage with plastic patio furniture, recliners, couches that they had piled up, and the day before they were supposed to clean it up, they torched it, and the remnants are still there. I mean, if there's nothing we can do about that, it surprises me.
If there's littering, you can report littering, but the county commission doesn't go around enforcing littering laws. That's law enforcement.
So this I need to talk to the sheriff.
Yeah, I would start with him.
Now if they got garbage service, which they should have. I don't know how they've got it, but I don't. They can pick it up, stuff like that.
I don't know if sometimes there's civil disputes between landowners. I'm not an attorney, but it's look, I don't like that we can't do it, but we can't.
Yeah, so I appreciate y'all listening to me. I don't like the answer that I got, but sometimes you got to take that. I just need to find another avenue. I guess I'll be contacting you to see. There's got to be something somewhere, somehow that we can leverage.
And we're elected countywide here, so you can contact any of the four. Commissioner Ball couldn't be here today, but it doesn't matter. We all work together. When it lands in one of our territories, we're out of courtesy, but we work together.
All right, so if y'all get a phone call, you know who's stirring up the dust. It's
And look, I'll say this, I mean, a private property owner whose neighbor is creating a nuisance might have a private cause of action for nuisance in the Circuit Court of Baldwin County, but that's you hiring a lawyer and suing those folks.
That's what I was meaning.
Yeah.
You can come to civil matter.
Yeah, but it's not, the county commission doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, don't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Am I batting cleanup? You guys are going home now?
I wish.
All right, thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay. So we got press questions?
Excuse me, I didn't sign up. I would like to say something.
Okay, yeah, please come to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Been a long morning. I'm about to freeze in here. I hope everybody paid attention to the first group of people that spoke, because you don't usually see that many people show up for a meeting, and then you got the school board, school principals, whoever they are, backing them up. So I hope you're going to look at this site, because I can tell you about another site in Fairhope that was Publix. And Mr. Brown's very well aware of that site. And it has been a problem ever since that went in. That has been a problem, and it will continue to be one. So I hope you're listening to him. As far as the library thing goes, I don't get it. If you got a telephone, you can Google anything. You can Google every book in the library. So how the library thing gets, I think that's a very small contingent of people, and I hope you stay the course on that. The third thing is, in this meeting, I've heard 4 times people say they called the sheriff's department and nothing happened. 4 times by 4 different individuals on 3 different subjects. And you know I've been a critic of no transparency and no accountability. But Sheriff's Office of Memorandum of Agreement for disbursement of high-intensity drug trafficking area funds. How about answering those calls first? The people that are calling you about traffic, about safety, they're not getting the attention. And I think if you watch in the next week or so, you're going to see a lot more come up about no transparency and no accountability is going to come home to roost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Commission comments?
The only thing that I want to say, Mr. Chairman, is that congrats to the employees that got promoted. You know, that's a big thing, and I like that. I like to see that, especially when you get better pay. To the staff, that what they've done today, this was a long meeting, and to put all this together, I just appreciate them. And I knew earlier that I like what they did with the agenda by putting stuff in red, where when I become chairman, I can read it off, and it helped me. So thank you very much for doing that. But other than that, I just want to thank y'all as a commission too, working together. So I'm just want to say thank you. That's all.
Mr. Underwood?
I don't have a lot of long comments right now. I just want to thank everybody, because it is so important to actually thank you. Our staff is phenomenal. I don't feel like that we are ever trying to do anything that is not. I think that when things need to always be brought to our attention, and that's what this process is about. So I appreciate the citizens that came that are already gone. I mean, we're going on 3 hours straight now, and I know my knees are hurting me from not being able to get up and walk around. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing.
Okay.
I didn't recognize, I see the deputy in here, but I just want to say thank you for being here. You got a hard job, and I know what it's like, and just watch your back.
Okay. The press, I know we do have press here. Did you have any questions from the press? Excuse me, did you have any press questions?
I did. So just to clarify, the Redville landfill, is this
Is this two separate projects that people are opposing, like the transfer station and a new landfill?
Yes, they're two separate projects.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Again, I want to thank everyone, the staff, and getting this together. And thank all the citizens for coming out and expressing their opinion of issues, which makes it great. Because a lot of times we don't know what their opinions are, and they do matter. With that being said, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second. All right. Got a motion and a second to adjourn. Meeting is adjourned.